Hi guys, I hope you're doing really well and taking good care of yourself and practicing radical self-care. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito case. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Somebody asked me to. And I guess the first thing I really want to point out is I've been reading a few different articles on it, and it's interesting that there is, I think, if I understand it correctly, over the last decade, there were about 400 women, indigenous women, lost in Wyoming, or missing persons in Wyoming over a 10-year period, and with nothing like the media attention that has been paid to sort of, I think, the missing, beautiful blonde white girl, right? And I'm in no way suggesting that people should not be heartbroken over it, and absolutely empathize with her family and what's going on, and not to diminish what happened to her in any way. But I do find it interesting that there's missing people of color, a lot of missing African American and indigenous women, and they just don't get the kind of media attention that is being played to sort of the middle class, white, attractive blonde female. So I just really wanted to mention that. And obviously we need to care about any person who goes missing, any woman who or man who's in a potentially domestic violent situation, a psychological, emotional, verbal, abusive relationship with a narcissist, or in this case, I'm guessing, when it all comes out, probably a psychopath, a narcissistic psychopath, who knows, right? But we don't know for sure, but it's sure looking that way. And, just a few things that I noticed when I watched the video and I watched the footage. And I'm sure a lot of this, I'm sure, as you probably all heard it a million times before, if you've been watching these videos, I'm sure a lot of people have commented on it. But a couple things I noticed when the cops mentioned to Brian that, he might be the domestic violence victim, he got a weird smile on his face, and I just found that so odd, because I think my guess is, if you really are the victim, the domestic violence victim, you are not going to get a smile on your face when the cop says, oh, well, maybe you're the victim here, right? But if you have duper's delight and you are trying to con people and play the victim and portray yourself in that way, sure, yeah, absolutely. You're probably going to be smiling all the way to the bank, because you got one over on them. They believe that you're the victim, right? Very narcissistic. And then I noticed that a few things. She seemed very emotional. She seemed what looked like to me to be in a very triggered state, a trauma state. She seemed in, fight and flight, and just really, it looked like her system was dysregulated. And when he was being interviewed by the cops, calm, cool, collected, not much affect on his face. It was really interesting, the difference in how they were, what kind of emotional reaction they were having. He wasn't having much of one. He was just calm, cool, collected, right? And then I noticed that she was blaming herself. She was taking the blame. She was like, I have OCD, I have anxiety, it's my fault. She was blaming herself, essentially, right? Taking the blame. And he was also blaming her. I didn't see him take any personal responsibility for the conflict that they were in. And that's also, in my opinion, highly narcissistic. Like, no personal responsibility, blame shifting, putting it on the victim, and the victim often thinking that it is their fault because they've been brainwashed and gaslit for so long that they actually believe that they are the one that is causing the issue, right? And of course, you guys all know about reactive abuse, where the narcissist will stir the pot and manipulate the person and use psychological and emotional manipulation to create a reaction in the victim. And the victim will often react, sometimes violently, sometimes with verbal assault or, verbal words and anger. It's very common, right? Reactive abuse. And then the narcissist will sit back and go, wow, look at that crazy person. Look at how crazy you're being. Wow, look how crazy, how irrational, how overly emotional you're being. You get so emotional, right? As they remain calm, cool, and collected. Meanwhile, they've been manipulating in these really sadistic, subtle, psychologically torturous ways. And you see a lot with the victims. To me, when I saw her, I was like, oh, that's real emotion. She's got some real emotion going on. I'm guessing she had the ability to feel a full range of honest and authentic emotions. That's my guess. And he, I'm guessing, doesn't have that range. I'm guessing there's a lot of deadness inside of that guy. I'm guessing there's a lot of, deadness. And obviously, if he is to blame, who knows, but there is a manhunt and he's disappeared. It also seems interesting to me that somebody, if they're really truly innocent, why would they run? I mean, that's a big, to me, that seems like a big red flag, but what do I know? I'm not a detective. But I noticed just that whole, reactive abuse seemed like it was going on. And then also I noticed the control issues, she's overreacting. She's getting emotional. So he locks her out of the van, potentially putting her in a situation where, she has no food, she has no water, she has no shelter. She's out in the middle of nowhere. He locks her out of the van. Wow. Serious control issues, in my opinion. So, I think he's guilty. I'm sure most people think he's guilty, but I definitely saw some signs of narcissistic behavior. He seems like a covert to me. Also, I think there was a couple of things he said, her little blog. Oh, look at her, her little blog. She's so, demeaning her work that she's putting all this time and effort into, and probably had a great chance of success, but her little thing that she's got going on, demeaning her. And then she said something he doesn't think I can do it. Oh, there we go. Right, really? Really truly supportive partner. I mean, they're going to support you at whatever thing you're doing, as long as it's morally responsible and decent, right? A really supportive, decent partner who truly loves you is going to support you in your endeavors. They're never going to be oh, your little blog that you're doing, or make you feel like you can't do it. That's not love. That's not support. That's somebody who is so insecure that they need you to be under them. That's somebody who needs to be superior, and they're going to keep you down. They're going to keep you down and make you think that you are incompetent, you can't achieve great things, you're just, you're less than, right? And I saw that a lot it seemed with the dynamic. And, he seemed to have that kind of, I don't know, that need to put her beneath him and to demean her. And I just think it's freaking heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking to me. It's absolutely, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And also, I think it goes to show that as benign as you think people are, even with people that are narcissistic, dude, some of them kill. Ted Bundy, he was a narcissistic psychopath, right? You just don't know. And I don't know where those lines are. We don't know. So if you're in a relationship with one of these people, you might think they're benign, or they're just, really narcissistic, but you can't really see them doing anything to hurt you physically, because a lot of narcissists aren't physical, right? Or some of them aren't. And that may be true, or maybe not. Maybe they're not violent for 10 years and then a light switch goes off and one day they just decide to butcher their family. I don't know. I just know that this kind of grandiosity and the entitlement, and I think most importantly, the idea that they cannot look at you as a human being, right? They don't see you as a human being. If you're just a possession or a thing to them, you're a washing machine, why wouldn't they kick their washing machine? You know, it's theirs to do what they want, you know, so they can do that. So their lack of ability to see their partners or their victims as real human beings means that, you know, what would they do to them? Who knows, right? They're completely dehumanized people. So people are just things to them. And I guess you can do whatever you want with your possession or your thing. You can kick it around or, I don't know, hurt it. So I'm sorry I'm being so a little sarcastic tonight, but I'm just like, ugh. I hate that this happens. I hate that there's people all over the world that are being killed by their partners, by the person who's supposed to love them. I absolutely hate that there's people that are in these relationships. You guys in this community, like, we have given our love, our care, our time, our energy into a black hole. And I'm guessing that's what Gabby did. I'm guessing she put her love and time and energy and bonding and care, not perfectly. Obviously, there was reactive abuse. Obviously, you know, she reacted with emotions, but I think she probably really cared for that person. And I promise you, if he did kill her, what he had for her was not love. That is not love. You cannot kill something that you love. No, you can't. So whatever he had for her was not love. And it's heartbreaking because there we go. One-sided relationship, non-reciprocal. And look how it ended. I mean, it makes me sick. It makes me sick. It makes me sad. I hate the darkness in this world. And I hate that this sort of thing is happening more and more. And that's why I really think it is so important that we hold on to our empathy. We hold on to our empathy. And don't let this relationship that you were in, don't let it take away your empathy. Yes, let it teach you boundaries. Yes, let it teach you to be a lot more aware about people's issues, and to ignore and not to ignore red flags. And let it teach you to never allow people to mistreat you again. Yes, absolutely, let it teach you that, right? For sure. But don't let it harden your heart. Don't let it make you have a dark heart or a hard heart, or don't let it make you start treating people the way they do, because this world needs empathy. It needs people that are still empathetic. It needs people that are willing to grow that muscle of empathy. It needs people that are kind. It needs people that are loving and that are willing to bond with others and willing to be authentic and willing to be honest, and they try to do the next right thing. This world needs you. So don't let these dark people harden your heart. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I hope you're really practicing radical self-care. Bye.